Hi, this is Michael P. Coleman, Content Director for Brother Be Well. Thanking you for checking out this series, this trauma and healing series brought to you by Blue Shield of California's Blue Sky Initiative. Hi, welcome to Brother Be Well. My name is Michael P. Coleman. I'm Director of Content for the program, and I'd like to introduce you to an amazing young man. To call him a survivor is a bit of an understatement. Patrick Ma is with us. He's an advisor to Brother Be Well. He's got lived experience. He's a physician assistant, and he's got an inspirational story that you've got to hear. It's a story of trauma, resilience, and recovery. Patrick, how's it going today?
Hello, Michael. I'm doing well. How are you?
Really good. Really good to see you. Looking good there, Patrick.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me.
It's great to have you here. Let's get into this story. There's so much to talk about. I was moved to tears literally reading your story. So let's get right into it. You grew up in Vietnam, and you grew up with your biological father who abused you physically. Talk about the scars that you still hold, physical and otherwise, from the abuse that you suffered from your father.
Yeah, for the viewer at home, I was born and raised in Vietnam. My mom and my dad divorced right when I was born, and my mom left to go to the US by herself, leaving me behind with an abusive and alcoholic father. Of course, I don't have any recollection when I was 6 months old, but from what my grandma told me, she said he started to slap me and pinch me when I was just about 6 months old. A lot of you at home now would pause and ponder, how would you hit a 6 months old baby? Um, that's just inhumane. It is. And, there's just no justification for it. I still have scars from my dad. And, in addition to those physical scars, is the emotional trauma and a little bit of PTSD too, if I may diagnose myself,
Mm.
which I have a clinical background. So I think it's right on the money.
Wow, wow. The to call them brutal, again, I don't have the word to describe some of what you went through at such a young age, Patrick. On one particular day, I want you to talk about you actually passed out. Your father beat you until you lost consciousness. You woke up the next day and you went to a friend's house. Talk about your life at your friend's house and what ultimately may have been a pretty low point in your life. Talk about that.
Yeah. It's always tough to talk about that day. And I remember it just like yesterday. I think, it was my 13th birthday. I officially become a teenager, I suppose. Um, my dad usually, on average, hit me about 2 to 3 times a week, whether it is to discipline me, as he called it, or sometimes just because he feels like hitting me. Um, I would never forget my 13th birthday because I consider that one of the lowest point in my life. Um, it was a weekday, and I was sleeping in bed. I didn't expect any presents or cake or any celebrations for my birthday because it just doesn't take place in our household. It's not what my father do. Um, but I was sleeping in bed because I have school the next day, and I remember my dad came home. He was drunker than I ever remember him, and he started pulling me out of bed by my legs and just start hitting me. Um, the sad part is, as a 13 years old, I just stopped crying
Wow.
because I knew no matter how much I cried or how hard I begged, my dad would not stop until he finished. So I was just sitting there in the fetal position. The only way I knew how to protect myself and let my dad do his thing, because I'm so used to being beaten at that point.
Mm.
Um, what I didn't anticipate that day was that after my dad was done beating me, um, he stripped me naked and make me stand in front of our house. Now, the street in Vietnam is very different than the street here in the US. The residential street here, you have one car, maybe two cars every 5, 10 minutes.
Mm.
In Vietnam, it is the equivalent of a highway. So you can imagine busy highway. There was, I was just a boy. I was a little boy, 13 years old, just went into puberty and, painfully aware and embarrassed of my growing body. And there I was, just standing in front of our home, naked, afraid, cold. It was a winter night, and I have wounds on my body that were still dripping with blood.
Wow.
I have never felt so humiliated, um, and so much less than a human being than I ever have felt in my entire life, even though with everything that my dad put me through. And if somebody was trying to come and help me, my dad would pull me back into the house and continue to hit me until I pass out. I I don't remember what happened next. I just remember the next morning waking up and I was in so much pain, both physically and emotionally. And I have all these questions in my head. Why am I still here? What is my purpose in life? What did I do to deserve this? Why is this happening to me? And you can imagine, as a 13 years old, I just could not come up with the answer. Um, and watching TV and shows and whatnot, and I thought the only way for me to get out is to take my own life. So that was what I did. I attempted. I went to my friend's house and told her that, oh, I have to. I can't remember, was it a him or her? But I went into the bathroom, closed the door, and I slit my own wrist. Um,
Wow.
and I was just laying on the floor, and there was a pool of blood around me. Um, I felt a sense of relief because as the lights go out from my eyes, it's just also a sense of freedom that my dad could no longer hit me. He could no longer hurt me. Fortunately, very fortunate for me that my friend's parents was went upstairs to look for something in the bathroom, and the door was locked. So they bashed the door open and found me, rushed me to the hospital, and they, pay for the entire medical bill. Because in Vietnam, if you have someone, attempt suicide in your house, it's just bad um, feng shui or bad juju, as they
Mm.
call it.
Mm.
And they told me never to repeat the incident to anyone.
Mm.
Um, you know, so I think that was the lowest point in my life.
Wow. You thank God survived that. So many people don't. Your friends, parents took care of you, helped you to kind of begin a healing process.